Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you two different ways to create this winter window scene. We'll be doing one where we're looking from the outside looking in, and then we'll be creating one where we are on the inside looking out. So two really fun scenes. Before I get started with my cards today, I wanted to first show you the Joyful Holiday Card Kit from Gina Designs. I won't be using this in today's video. I have a separate video planned for some of the stamp sets in this kit, but I know her kits are super popular. This is the first video I'm doing using her release, so I wanted to be sure to share this with you, where you're getting two large stamp sets, a smaller stamp set, coordinating dies, cardstock, and also something here are those sentiments there, those holiday greeting sentiment sheets, which I love and are only featured in the kit, so I wanted to be sure to point that out to you. Something else that is really super popular in Gina's releases are her master layout sets. This is Master Layouts 8, and that is designed for cards that are 5x7. The dies are a little bit smaller, but they are made to fit larger cards. I personally don't do a lot of larger cards, but I did want to share that with you so that you can see those are an option. I will have both of these listed down in my supplies in the video description, along with the supplies I'm using for today. So now we can get started with my card. I will be using this winter window stamp set. It does also have coordinating dies for this. I really loved this kind of old-fashioned look with the draping curtains and those shutters and this gorgeous Christmas tree. So I started out with some quick Copic coloring. I did speed up the coloring process because, as you can see, I am not doing any shading. I am literally just grabbing some markers and throwing some color in there. Now I stamped all of these images in the Obsidian ink, which is Copic friendly, and honestly, I kind of struggled a little bit with the tree. I did notice that there were some ribbons in there. I'm not exactly sure where all the ribbon is. I kind of just pieced it together. I'm sure Melanie explains it a little better when she is showcasing the release as well. But I just threw in some yellow for some ribbon, and then I'm literally coloring over the lines of the branches with a green marker to give that some color. So you can use any coloring medium that you want here. It is a really simple way to add color, whether it's colored pencils, your zig markers, Copic markers, anything you want to do. I did not do anything super fancy. For the curtains, I did add a little bit of contrast here. I did some shading at the very top of the curtains. The swoop that kind of hangs in, I did shadows on the right and left side. And then on the curtain that's hanging down on the right, I will add my darkest color to the top of that. So I'm actually really just following the artist drawn lines. This is the only one that I really added any shading to using like a 3 or 4 marker color combination. But again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can just use your colored pencils, or if you like to use Gamma-Sol, you could do that. Anything really simple just to add some color to this. For the shutters that are going to go for my outside window scene, I am going to add a little bit of color. So I have a light gray marker. I am just adding flicks of color on the right hand side, and then on the second one, I'm adding the flicks of color to the left. So that's going to help me decide which one's going on the right or the left side of my window. Now I'm taking the coordinating dies. I'm going to line them up over my images, hold it in place with any type of low tack tape or washi tape, and run these through my die cut machine. Now I'm going to take this coordinating die for the window. Now you notice I did not stamp the window. I am only using the coordinating die, and I die cut that 2 times out of white cardstock. Now I'm going to bring in this window from the Master Layout 5. This fits right inside of that window I just die cut out. So this one that has all the window panes on it is from Master Layout 5. The solid piece is the coordinating die from Winter Window. So they fit together so perfectly. I really loved doing this because I wanted to ink blend a scene, and this was the easiest way for me to do it. Now I'm going to start with the scene where I'm looking into the house. I wanted to add a light glow of light, so I am ink blending on Lemon Drop ink from Gina Designs using a blending brush. I don't have to add a lot of color here because my tree is going to be in there, and I'm also taking into consideration that my curtains are going to be hanging down. So here's that window that I die cut out that has the window frame on there. My curtains line up perfectly behind that. So I'm taking some Connect glue and I just put a little bit on the top of the window and a little bit behind the window panes that are going to go on top of the curtain. And then I'm going to attach that down. So you can see this is our window looking from the outside, looking into the house. Now I also have my Christmas tree. So I'm going to layer this behind my curtains. Once again, just adding some Connect glue to those window panes or those window frames, however you want to call it, and adding that on top of my Christmas tree. Then I'm going to flip this up and I'm going to trim off any of that excess tree that's hanging out. So this piece is going to get added to our ink blended panel that we decorated. And I really kind of contemplated if I wanted to add it straight onto that blended background or if I wanted to pop it up to give it some dimension. I did decide to add some foam squares to the back of that piece. Some of those foam squares I did trim down to some pretty skinny sizes so that I could get that on my frame and everything was supported. Once I remove the backing of those foam squares, I can go ahead and just attach this right on top of that blended panel back there. So here we have a little bit of dimension with the foam squares and then that nice soft glow that we have in the background. I have my window shutters here that I wanted to add to the side. And first I needed to make sure that that window is centered. I didn't want to glue it down just yet. So I only added a little bit of the dot runner behind it. And then I could center this on my card. I'm using a piece of cardstock that is 4¼ by 5½. And this is the In the Navy cardstock, a really nice dark blue. And then I'm taking those window shutters and I'm kind of tucking it a little bit underneath my window, which is why I didn't want that glued down just yet. I wanted these to kind of tuck underneath. Now you could use the liquid glue or the tape runner, either way to attach those. Once I'm happy with all of the placement, then I can just pop that window back up, add tape runner, and then really push this down to adhere it. For sentiment for the front of this card, I'm going to be using the sentiment strips that are included in the card kit this month. And these are really cool. They're already pre-printed. There's black and there's white. I loved this little Merriam Bright. And then I'm also using these sentiment strips, a die set, to cut those out. Now this one is printed on black, but it is white core. So I just took a Copic marker and went around those edges. That just kind of gives it a finishing look. If I remember to do it, I love doing it. Sometimes I forget, so either way is great, but I think it's just a really great finishing touch. Then to attach it, I am just adding 2 layers of foam squares behind that. And I'm going to place this kind of in between the window pane and right onto the tree. One idea I had after the fact was stamping some snowflakes in the background. You could either do like some white paint splatters or a metallic watercolor, but I think snowflakes would look really cool. I just did not think of it at the time of the card. But I am finishing off by adding some sparkles to this. These are crystalline drops, which unfortunately are no longer available, but I'm sure there's something in your stash that has sparkle in it that you could add to your Christmas tree. So that was my first card, going from the outside looking in, and now I wanted to create a card that was looking from the inside looking out. So I have another piece here that I die cut that's using the coordinating die in the winter window set, so just out of white cardstock, and I ink blended on Sea Glass, Tranquil Teal, and In the Navy ink, just to give this kind of a wintry nighttime sky for our background. Then I lined up the pieces that are going to be going on top of this. So I had once again die cut out that window panel or the window frame, and I have the curtains that are going to be going on top, and I needed that so I knew where I could stamp this silhouette of the Santa with his reindeer across the sky. So once I lined that up, I can remove the curtain and that window frame, and I'm going to stamp directly onto my background using Obsidian ink. I didn't condition the stamp very well, so I do need to stamp it twice to make sure it is a really nice solid black. And also on the winter window stamp set is these set of trees that fit perfectly at the bottom of my window frame. So I went ahead and stamped those in the Obsidian ink as well. Then I could start working on putting my actual window together. So I have that die cut window frame out, and I'm adding Connect glue all around it and to the inside. Sometimes I had bigger spots of glue, so I'm just going to take my fingertip and rub over that so it isn't too built up and doesn't seep out too much. Then I can just place that on top of my decorated background that I have here. And now I'm going to add the curtains on top. So the curtains will come in just a little bit. I'll have a little bit of that window frame around the edge, but it's all white, so it looks like it's all one piece. And adding that with the Connect glue as well. For this card front, I have a piece of cherry red cardstock cut to 4 by 5 1/4. I did go ahead off screen and heat emboss a sentiment down at the very bottom that just says Merry Christmas, and that is in gold embossing powder. Then I can bring in the elements and start adding them to the front. I really thought of completing the scene by adding maybe some floor to ground my Christmas tree, but sometimes I really just don't think that's needed. Sometimes it's just the images itself that bring this to life. So this beautiful scene that I added with the tape runner, and then we have this kind of old-fashioned looking Christmas tree. So I really didn't feel like I needed to finish the scene off by adding a floor, but you definitely could if you wanted to give it kind of a more realistic vibe and just ground your images a little bit more. Now the tree, I did add foam tape too, so I could pop that up for a little dimension. And then once again, coming in with these sparkling crystalline drops. Again, anything in your stash that has any type of glitter or sparkle to it would really work. You could go over your bulbs. I just kind of really went through and added little dots all over my Christmas tree. So that's going to finish up my second card for a winter window scene. I will have more videos coming very soon featuring Gina K Designs September release for 2021. So please stay tuned for that. And if you don't want to miss out on those videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notifications so you are notified when those new videos are posted. I will have all of these supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well, along with pictures of these cards. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again real soon.